Ever pondered the idea of the moon being claimed as a territory? What if China decided to stake its flag on the lunar surface? It may sound like science fiction, but let's delve into the possibilities. Imagine this. We're in the year 2024, and space exploration is no longer a thing of the past, but a palpable reality. And with it comes a whole new set of challenges and concerns. One such concern was voiced by NASA's chief Bill Nelson, who has been quite outspoken about his apprehensions surrounding China's activities in space. Now, Beijing has always maintained that their space pursuits are purely scientific. But Nelson, the head honcho at NASA, suggests otherwise. He told the House Committee on Appropriations, "We believe that a lot of their so-called civilian space program is a military program." This statement isn't made lightly. Nelson's concerns stem from China's remarkable strides in space exploration over the past decade, particularly their secretive nature. And it's not just about exploring the great beyond. The real concern lies in the potential implications of China asserting dominance in space, particularly on the moon. Remember when the US and USSR were engaged in a space race during the Cold War? Well, it seems like history might be repeating itself. Only this time, it's a lunar race between the US and China, with both nations vying to establish permanent bases on the moon. So, what happens if China gets to the moon first and decides to declare it their territory? This idea might seem far-fetched, but it's a scenario that has been seriously considered by experts in the field. In a world where territorial disputes are already too common, the moon becoming the next battleground is a daunting prospect. This not only raises questions about international law and diplomacy, but also about the future of space exploration. So could the moon become the next disputed territory? Let's trace the path that has led us to this question. Over the past decade, China has made significant advancements in its space exploration efforts, marking a new era in the international space race. The nation's journey into the cosmos has been characterized by extraordinary strides, particularly under the guidance of President Xi Jinping. In the early part of the 2010s, China's space program was still in its infancy. However, by the mid-decade, the country had already begun to show signs of its growing ambitions. In 2016, China launched its second space station, Tiangong-2, further solidifying its place in the space exploration arena. As we moved into the latter part of the decade, China's space program really began to take off. In 2018, the country made history by landing its Chang'e, 4 spacecraft on the far side of the moon, a first in human space exploration. This mission not only showcased China's technological prowess, but also signified its growing ambitions in space. In 2020, China launched its Tianwen-1 mission to Mars, marking its first independent journey to another planet. And just a year later, in 2021, China's Zhurong rover successfully landed on the Martian surface, making China the second country to land and operate a rover on Mars. Under President Xi Jinping's leadership, China's investment in its space program has been increasing year on year. In 2023, the country spent a whopping $14 billion on its ambitious space endeavors. This significant investment has fueled a number of groundbreaking missions, propelling China's space program to new heights. These advancements have set the stage for a new kind of race, a lunar race. As we move forward into the next decade, the question on everyone's mind is, who will be the first to establish a permanent base on the moon? With China's significant advancements in space exploration and its increasing investment in its space program, the lunar race is certainly heating up. Both the US and China are accelerating their efforts to establish permanent bases on the moon. This has fueled a new kind of space race, one with the moon as the finish line. China's approach is ambitious. They plan to construct a lunar base the size of Disneyland, equipped with a CCTV system so powerful it can monitor activity on Earth. Imagine that, a surveillance system stretching from the moon all the way back to our blue planet. It's a testament to the leaps and bounds made in technology and space exploration. On the other hand, the United States, through NASA's Artemis missions, has a different timeline. They aim to return astronauts to the lunar surface by 2026, a few years ahead of China's planned crewed moon mission. The Artemis missions aren't just about setting foot on the moon again. They're about establishing a sustainable human presence there. The stakes are high and the race is on. Both nations are aware of the potential advantages of reaching the moon first. be it scientific advancement, geopolitical influence, or resource utilization. But it's not just about being the first to plant a flag. It's about the ability to conduct research, harness resources, and perhaps even establish a launch pad for further space exploration. This lunar race, reminiscent of the Cold War era, has rekindled global interest in space exploration. However, it's not just about national pride or technological superiority anymore. It's about the future of humanity itself. But what if China gets there first? What are the potential consequences? As we delve deeper into this lunar race, we need to consider the implications of each outcome. The moon isn't just a celestial body, it's a potential new frontier for humanity. And as with any frontier, the first to arrive often gets to set the rules. But what will those rules be? Stay tuned as we explore these questions in the next scene. NASA Chief Bill Nelson has voiced concerns about China potentially claiming parts of the moon if it builds a base there first. This concern stems from China's increasing space activities, coupled with their secretive nature. China has made extraordinary strides in space exploration and is rapidly accelerating its efforts towards establishing a lunar base. However, with these advancements come questions of territorial integrity and international treaties. If we cast our minds back to Earth, we find a similar situation in the South China Sea. Here, China has been known to assert territorial claims, raising concerns among international observers. This earthly parallel paints a potential lunar scenario that could be cause for concern. Why does this matter, you may ask? Well, it's all about the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. This international agreement, signed by over 100 nations, including both the United States and China, governs the activities of states in the exploration and use of outer space. Among its many provisions, it stipulates that the moon and other celestial bodies are to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes. It explicitly prohibits the assertion of territorial claims by any nation. If China were to stake a claim on the moon, it could potentially breach this pivotal treaty, setting a worrying precedent for future space exploration. The implications of such an action are vast and could lead to a new frontier of geopolitical disputes, this time beyond the confines of our own planet. Yet, this is all conjecture at the moment. No nation has yet established a permanent base on the moon, and the Outer Space Treaty remains unchallenged. However, these concerns underscore the need for international cooperation and dialogue in our shared journey to the stars. The thought of territorial claims on the moon brings us to a crossroads. Where do we go from here? As we look to the future, the actions of China and the US in space will undoubtedly shape the course of space exploration. The lunar landscape has become a new frontier, a stage for competition, but it also holds the potential for unprecedented cooperation. We stand at a crossroads. China's refusal to sign the Artemis Accords, an international agreement aimed at promoting peace and cooperation in space, has raised eyebrows and concerns. This refusal has sparked debates and speculation on the nation's intentions on the moon and beyond. Will the lunar surface become a stage for conflict? Or could it be a platform for global collaboration? The Artemis Accords, signed by over 40 countries, attempt to set common ground rules for the peaceful exploration and use of space. It's clear that we need such agreements as we step further into this new frontier. The moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies belong to no single nation. They are a shared heritage, a shared resource, and a shared responsibility. China's significant advancements in space technology, coupled with its increasing investment in its space program, have positioned it as a formidable player in the lunar race. However, this progress is veiled in secrecy, stirring up apprehension among international counterparts. The potential for cooperation in space is vast. Joint missions could pool resources, share risks, and foster a sense of global unity. However, this potential is overshadowed by the looming possibility of conflict. The South China Sea conflict serves as a stark reminder of how territorial disputes can escalate, and the stakes are even higher when the territory in question is not on our home planet. As we venture further into the cosmos, the need for transparency, cooperation, and a shared commitment to peace becomes increasingly paramount. The actions we take now, the agreements we sign, and the missions we undertake will set the tone for the future of space exploration. As the lunar race heats up, we are left with more questions than answers. One thing is for sure, the next decade of space exploration is set to be a thrilling ride.